of you might remember that movie. It was 2001, A Space Odyssey, but a lot of you don't. That movie came out in 1968. Many of you weren't even born yet. And it had a vision of what it would be like 35 years from now in the future, to 2001. And it was a symbol of dreaming of the future, thinking big, smart computers, space travel, and things we didn't even think about in 1968. So I'd like you to think about something. Close your eyes. Think about our company in 2040. That's just 21 years from now. Who will own it? How big will it be? How many offices? What will it be like? Will you be there? Just like 2001 Space Odyssey set the vision for the future, that's what I want to do at this meeting today. That's the reason that you're all here today. And in fact, this might be the most important meeting we ever had. You know, I'm 63, and Chris is 60, and several of us have been talking about the future for a long time, maybe 10 years now. What's going to happen in the future to this great company that we have? And I'm sure some of you are wondering the same thing. And I know some of you are asking questions. And I'm sure all of you want to know, what's it going to be like for you? This is the 19th year that we did the State of the Company address. I started doing this in 2000. It was designed to update and inform you of our business, of our revenues, of our workload, of our staff, and our vision. And like a good engineer would do, I provided you with the facts, bullet points, throw in some graphs for good measure. We love graphs, don't we? We're engineers. And a few pie charts to go along the way. And that's what we're going to share with you today. And I want you to know that you're all going to get that information, but you're going to get it on the way out today. The purpose of bringing you all here today is so that we can all have equal parts in bringing this company into the future. That each of us, by the end of the day, will have a clear and vivid picture of how we do that. Why is it important to bring our company into the future? How are we going to bring our company into the future? And what's your part in all of this? I think there's 3 reasons why. The first reason is because of all of us. The most important thing about Robinson and Geocon is what it enables and what it gives to all of us. The second reason is because of what we do for our clients. And the third reason is our culture. So let me talk first about us. We have a fantastic staff that I'm so proud of. You're a great group of honorable people, and we're lucky to have you. And I hope that each one of you feels fortunate to have the other. Robinson Geocon is just the vehicle to put great people together, to bring together a winning team. We want to continue to develop and nurture and train all of you. Our people do amazing things. Let me give you a few examples. Who's the guy that you turn to when you need help on a contract that you just don't understand? Well, that's John Zabrocki, of course. John says Robinson has given him the opportunity to be successful by continuing to do and learn the next thing. On a technical side, John says he likes the fact of never being pigeonholed into one thing. John told me success here is about the opportunity of taking small steps on a long road. And he said, you don't get that at many companies. You know, John's adopted 3 wonderful children. And if John doesn't go to heaven, I don't think anybody will. John's family had some serious health issues. But that never slowed him down one bit. In fact, it motivated him to work harder. He said, I get satisfaction knowing that Robinson's healthcare system has helped me and my family. And how can you not like Van? That's him in the back, the tall one. Van said he remembers a recent culture survey that Robinson took. And friendly, was one of the words that showed up most. Van says, I resonate with that. He says, we have a lot of really nice people who treat each other with respect. And that makes me feel good. You know, two of the toughest times in Van's life occurred when he was at Robinson. First was the death of his dad, and just a year and a half ago was the death of his mom. Van told me, the support I got from Robinson is something that I'll never forget. He said, I've seen true concern from people at the top of the company to the new entry people. And Van said, at the end of the day, I don't think you can find another place to work with such high quality, conscientious, and caring people. You know, some of us have worked at companies where going to the HR department, it was sort of like going to the principal's office. And that's no fun, and I know that for a fact. But with us, the HR department is like going to a counselor's office. You know, we all love Denise. Denise worked at Siemens, a global corporation, where she said she was just a number. She said, I didn't like that at all. Now at Robinson, she says, I have the ability to make a difference. Denise said, Robinson really cares about their employees and works hard to provide the best benefits they could. After my first month here, she said, Chris and Russ wanted to meet with me, and they asked, what can we do to make your job better? Denise said, I've never been asked that by an employer before. And she said, I have the quality of life back since I joined Robinson that I didn't even realize was gone. Denise said, there was a time when my dad became ill on the day of the State of the Robinson address, and I'd been working heavily with Russ on the presentation. And Russ insisted I put my family first and don't worry about the meeting. The next week was the worst week of my life, she said, because my dad passed away. And throughout the week, however, everyone at Robinson was so extremely supportive. She said it really meant a lot to me. She said, my mom still talks about how wonderful and amazing it is to work at Robinson. You know, one of the guys that we need when we have computer problems is Ben Clark. He's calm and cool while he's fixing our computers while we're just about ready to take a sledgehammer to it. You know, Ben started out with us in a STEM interim program while he was in high school. Ben liked it here, applied in the summer of the next year, and got a full-time job working with us in the field. And Ben went to college full-time while he was working at Robinson full-time and graduated in 4 years with a Bachelor of Science degree. Pretty impressive. Ben helped out in the IT department when the field work was slow in the winter. And now he is the manager of our IT department, and he does a fantastic job. But you know, Ben's life wasn't easy in the early days. His mom passed away when he was 9. He was raised by a single parent after that. But Ben continued to press on. He graduated from Thornridge High School with honors. Ben's family didn't have money for college, but with a combination of tuition aid and financial reimbursement from Robinson, Ben graduated. Ben said, I'm so grateful to Robinson for their assistance. It helped me get through college. He said, what other company would do that? The second reason it's important to bring Robinson into the future is our clients. You know, we do great things for our clients and for the residents in the towns that we represent. Some of our towns we have been with for over 60 years, and we're appointed in over 60 towns and work with over 90 towns. That's an amazing record to be proud of. There's very few engineers that can talk about that. I want you to think about something. The work we do for our clients is as important as a doctor or a fireman or a first responder. We help people improve the quality of their lives. We help them get cleaner water, safer roads. We make the environment better for future generations. And for Robinson, it's not always about making money from our clients. It's about doing great things for our communities, things that change people's lives and make them better, you probably don't even realize it. For over 20 years, people in Calumet City and Lansing flooded on a regular basis. And I mean flooded where the furniture was floating in the living room. I was there. I saw it. Flooding that led to ruined properties, mold, mildew, and other hazardous situations. Robinson was asked to help. So we designed and oversaw construction of dikes along the Little Calumet River that finally ended devastating flooding for thousands of people. These areas went from this to this, giving these people back the quality of their lives. Families would come to board meetings with their kids holding up bottles of water that looked like this. No, that's not wastewater. That's drinking water coming out of the faucets. Sauk Village had one of the worst drinking water systems in the state. It was so bad that the village was giving the residents bottled water. Jim Zarnick and his team came up with a plan and a design to treat the water. But it wasn't easy. A lot of emotional people came to the meetings. But the mayor and the board had faith in us, and the project proceeded. Today, over 10,000 people in town have clean, safe drinking water. Think about how many kids were drinking that disgusting water, and now they don't. We prevented them from sickness and disease. Every year, homeowners in Tinley Park were paying hundreds of dollars for flood insurance, and they all complained they never flooded. They got close, but it never flooded. We helped the residents and the village with a flood certification program that removed over 1,000 people from the flood area. So they no longer needed to pay the yearly flood insurance. We saved them money year after year. The result was saving of $500,000 every year to the residents of Tinley Park. You know, we love to give back to our communities. For the last 36 years, college engineering students have received scholarships from our Brazelton Brink Scholarship Program. 2 of our mayors in towns that we work with every year sit on the selection committee with us. Mayor Don DeGraff of South Holland here said it's an honor to be part of the wonderful program that helps so many smart kids better afford college. The program has helped over 100 students to continue their education and graduate. In fact, Kevin Danko received this scholarship in 2017, and I'm proud to say that he's now working for us. Thank you, Kevin. And over 30 employees and their kids have taken advantage of our internal scholarship program to help them with advanced training and college education, even if it's not engineering related, so that they can advance themselves and have a better quality of life. STEM programs are important to us. 25 years ago, we started a high school STEM program. Today, John, Tom, Chris, Kevin, Martin, Dave, Dana, Mark, Jeff, and others all have helped by giving back by participating in grade school STEM programs. We do it to help younger generations to see the great things that engineers do. Chris King said, we teach them what a great opportunity is to be an engineer and how our company is helping make a difference in the world. And finally, the last reason why it's important that we bring Robinson into the future is because of what we have as a culture. You know, we're like a family, a team of friendly people instead of a huge corporation of numbers. We care about people. All of you go out of your way to help others, to lend a hand, to smile. Let me give you some examples. Holly says Robinson makes it so that I have the perfect work-life balance, and I enjoy being part of a company that's focus is on improving people's lives and not just business to make money. Jason talks about the freedom, the ability, and the flexibility to solve problems on my own rather than relying on someone else. Jason says it's all about the people in the company. It's company-wide. He says all good people to work with. Joelle just loves the friendly atmosphere Family comes first, she said. They treat employees good, and coming to work isn't a chore. In fact, it's fun, and it's nice to be part of a team. And it's sometimes the little things, Dave said. He's grateful that he's able to use the Ozark condo for the last 30 years. He said that means so much to me and my family. Dave said he and many others probably wouldn't be able to afford a vacation like that every year. He said no other company cares about their employees like Robinson. Tom Nagel talked about his days at White Engineering. He said they worked us like rented mules. He said the morale sucked. He said everyone hated everyone. No one cared about us, he said. At Robinson, it's different. I was impressed, he said, by how nice people were. And he said, I believe our culture is rooted in old school values of truly caring for everyone. You know, being here for just a few months, Elaine talked about the warmth and friendliness. She says, everyone is so welcoming and helpful. As for my growing, she said, I have so much diversity in project types resulting in opportunities to expand my skills. Troy commented, the good company culture is what sets Robinson apart, as well as the stability of the client base that we have. He ended it with saying, Robinson always has your back. Paul talks about the work environment being professional yet relaxed. He said, we're afforded flexibility, but we're treated like professionals. Paul says, I feel part of a team and not just part of just being a number. Jonathan says, Robinson's laid back. He said, they don't sweat the small stuff, and there's minimal drama. He said they encourage personal development. Robinson provides opportunities to grow through experience. I like the you can do it, figure it out mentality. You know, we have a lot of new people here with us today from Geocon. Last year, 20 people joined Geocon by way of an acquisition of Oz Engineering, which is another material testing firm. And here are some of the people that are with us today. This double the size of Geocon, the revenues and their opportunities. Nolan has been Geocon for just a little bit over a year. He said, it was the people that drew me to Geocon. Geocon generally cares. And by the way, Nolan's been busy. He had a new baby just 3 weeks ago, and he passed his PE test 2 weeks ago, so congratulations on both. Can someone check on Nolan and see if he's sleeping with that baby in the house now? Joe came to Oz and said, I wasn't sure what to expect, or came from Oz and said, I wasn't sure what to expect from Geocon. But he says it's been a great experience with many learning opportunities. He said, I have more responsibility and the ability to take charge on my projects. Nick said, I love the work environment. He says, in fact, before Geocon, we didn't even have a work environment where we had access to resources such as IT, organizational development, and new equipment. He said, there's more opportunities for me to grow professionally. So there's a lot of common themes here. Freedom, flexibility, family-orientated, friendly, character, attitude, caring, warmth, diversity, stability, professional, part of a team, laid back, sharing, opportunities. This is Robinson Geocon. This is why we need to bring these great companies into the future. But bringing us into the future is by no means a sure thing. We can't bring Robinson and Geocon into the future by doing the same things that we've always done. We have to do some things differently. People are changing. Technology's changing. We need to change as well. You know, we've worked hard with a transition of Robinson throughout many generations. And one of the things that we've done that a lot of companies haven't done is we have a good transition plan so that others here can continue to buy stock and ownership and eventually replace guys like Chris and me. And yet my wife, I guess, must have been right. I am getting old. But we can't take this transition for granted because it's really core to our ability to move into the future. But accomplishing this is not enough. What we have to do is transform Robinson from a company that responds to RFPs and requests from clients, to a company that actually brings those ideas to our customers that will transform those communities. Henry Ford said, if I waited for my customers to tell me what they wanted, they would have told me they wanted faster horses. That's what some customers are trying to tell us. They want faster horses. We have to give them more than faster horses. We have to show them what's possible by bringing them cars. Think about this. We represent over 750,000 people in the region. The very safety and livelihood of the people that live in these communities are affected by what we do or what we could do. The money we save them by finding them a grant or a forgiveness loan could be used to help kids in town, improve infrastructure, or help the town grow. And some of our clients are really struggling. They have budget issues. Even the affluent clients are struggling with issues, safety issues, etc. They don't understand their infrastructure systems like us. We need to lead them. Let me give you a few examples. Just recently, we interviewed for a road project in Joliet, and they wanted us to add a fifth lane to add a turning lane on a project. We went to the interview, and we said, yeah, we definitely can do that. But we says, we have another option called traffic calming. And with that option, we could save them $1 million. That's thinking outside the box. We submitted an RFP to a client, and we were very qualified, but we didn't get the project. When I asked the mayor why, I was told the other firm talked about their diversity, how diverse they were. And I know we are far more diverse, and I'm so proud of our diversity, but we didn't talk about it in the proposal. Clients are looking for those things. We need to point them out. Everyone read about the Flint, Michigan water problems, I'm sure. Well, Illinois has kind of the same lead issue problems. We found that the EPA had loans, and several of our poor towns qualified for a 100% rebate. It means they got it all back. We talked to a lot of our clients really quick. The key here was learning about the funding and then acting quickly to let all of our clients know about it. Hell, we found them free money. Several of our clients took advantage of the program, and why wouldn't they? That's how we go beyond engineering. That's understanding municipal government. That's what makes us different from everyone else. We need to take our customers from simply thinking that we're going to respond to the request to understanding that what we can do is take them to places they never knew were possible. And in doing so, we can benefit the communities, make them safer, save them money. So we need to do a few things. First, we need to better understand our clients' needs and opportunities. We need to know what they're all about. We need to understand their problems. It's not enough to be just a good engineer anymore. We have to become experts in municipal government. We have to understand municipal government so that we can translate that into providing them the best engineering help that we could give them. Once we understand our clients, we need to come up with more and better ideas. We need to have better teamwork to do that. So the second thing we need to do is have more teamwork. And third, if all of this happens and we can't get it across to our clients, it's like a tree falling in the woods and no one hears it, right? So we have to really be able to demonstrate that we're different than everyone else. It's more than just learning how we talk differently. It means We have to establish deep relationships with our clients. We've got to know these leaders. They have to see what we've done for other clients, all the ways that you build trust. So when you bring them a new idea, their curiosity is up, their interest is up, their willingness to listen is up. And it's a long and constant process. It involves building a relationship with a client so that they trust us. It involves demonstrating over and over again good advice. It's beyond communications. So we have to build the skills to demonstrate that Robinson is different than everyone else. So this is a call to action. Each and every one of you has to be part of this transformation to the future. We have a great group of people here. You all have such great skill sets. We're blessed to have all of you. And even with all of that, we still need to do some things different in the future. We have to transform ourselves from people who are just good engineers and good employees to people who are good at three things that we need to do as a company to thrive in this fast-changing world, which means we have to become experts in municipalities. We have to be more than experts in engineering. We have to be experts in municipalities with TIFs and ordinances and grants and funding. We have to become more than just nice people that we like working with. We have to become people who like working together. And we have to have a lot of teamwork. So we need to develop more teamwork skills. And finally, we have to demonstrate to our clients how we're different. So we're going to undertake a series of actions to help us all be better at doing these three things. And I'm going to start that out today. I'm going to bringing up Michael Allosso next. He'll be talking about leadership and communication. But Michael's only the start. We're going to be doing a lot of things. We'll continue and expand our engineering education program and the lessons learned that we did. We got a lot of good comments from that, so that we can take our younger engineers and bring them into the mainstream of learning about municipalities. We're going to be working on teamwork by bringing out the author of a book titled The Team Clock, a guide to breakthrough teams to help us all perform at a higher level. We'll continue to focus on our position of being the appointed municipal engineers for our many towns and strive to secure more. This is the highest honor that we could receive from our towns, and we need to cherish that position. We're going to continue to improve on our RFP proposal system. Many towns are now going to that and asking for that, and seek out more proposals to grow our business. We'll be getting more teamwork to help us expand that area of business and find better ways to prepare proposals that make us stand out differently than all of our combinations, all of our competition. Maybe add a video. The sky's the limit with our creativity. And finally, how do we demonstrate to our clients that we are different? To do that, we have to get deeper, closer relationships with our clients. So we'll be working with all of our engineers to help them better understand our clients, expand their knowledge, cross-train, provide institutional knowledge, talk about opportunities, and a lot of other things. This is a top priority for us, so we're putting our best on it. Jeff Pintar will be promoted to our leadership team. Congratulations, Jeff. And Jeff will team up with Jen Prince to champion this cause. They'll be working on an implementation program over the next quarter, and we'll roll this out to the engineering team in September. So that's what we're going to be doing. There's a lot of details that we need to work out, but I'm confident we're going to develop a great plan to move this forward. This will set our priorities for the future. 2001 Space Odyssey was a vision of the future, and at the time, everyone thought it was just a fantasy. But think about this. Most all of those things became a reality. Today, we set the vision for 2040 to continually reinvest in ourselves as a team as we choose to venture forward toward new horizons with great people like you that we trust and admire. This will be an exhilarating journey as we move our great company to go beyond engineering. Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Michael Allosso.
Thank you, Ben. Gene, wake up. It's a movie theater, y'all. Come on. Yes. Katie, go Katie. Katie Sutton for next CEO for me. Woo! Yeah, I'm staying at the Hilton Garden Inn over in Tinley Park. Have you guys been there? It's very lush, very glamorous. And of course, the gym is in repair. So I start every morning with a workout when I'm in a hotel, no matter what the hotel gym is. So this morning I said, all right, I'm going to figure out how to do it in my room, my whole workout. And I do accommodate, well, I couldn't do the weight stuff, but I could do all the stretching. And so I stood on the thing that is where they keep the luggage, that they have built in. And because I do this balance thing like this, and I'm standing there, and I think it's made for like a 40-pound suitcase. And I had a very large breakfast, so I don't think it was ready to support me, so I'm doing this thing, and all of a sudden I hear creak, and so I quickly jumped off. My day did not start off on the right foot this morning, literally and figuratively. When my day starts off on the wrong foot, what I tend to do, because I have a show business background, I tend to fantasize about what the perfect day might be. Now, my perfect day is probably dramatically different from all of yours. My perfect day is one where everybody I meet, everyone with whom I come in contact, greets me warmly, because they're engaged in a job that they care deeply about. Whether it's a guy who's paying a stripe in the middle of the road, or a woman in a laboratory trying to cure a disease, and everyone in between, they all love what they're doing, and it shows. On this day, I go to my Starbucks in my little hamlet just outside of Boston, and the guy who's making my latte cares deeply about my latte. He measures the ingredients really carefully. He seems to have an investment in the fact that I get the jolt I need to start my day off on the right foot. On this day, not one, but both of my children call me. And not out of obligation, not because their mother told them to, not because they need money, but they call me because they're genuinely interested in telling me what they're doing. And what they're doing is good and noble and contributes to society and has something to do with improvement to either my home or my garage. On this day, my wife lands a 6-figure job, and she comes up with a half a dozen ways for me to more effectively market my business, and she does this all while cooking a 5-course low-carb but delicious meal. My mother calls me on this day from heaven, and actually spends the first 10 minutes of the conversation asking about me before she launches into her usual litany of maladies and ailments. Me, what do I do in this day? I go down to the local gym, I work out for an hour and a half, 45 minutes cardiovascularly, 45 minutes lifting weights. I take a luxurious sauna and steam, a long hot shower. I go home, I have 5 corporate clients, all of whom I motivate to greatness, one right after the other. I clean my office so I know everything is the minute I need it. I write a chapter of my book. I adopt a starving kid in Ethiopia, and I teach my soft-coated Wheaten Terrier a new trick, which she learns immediately. Now, yes, indeed, that's a dream. But the Reverend Jesse Jackson has told us, when he knows his microphone is on, that there are no more impossible dreams, or remove the ceilings from our dreams. Now, if old Jess is right, my question to all of you is, well, how do you do that? And the answer is what I call my program today. It's by being you on your best day every minute of every day. What I'm going to present for you this morning, this afternoon, are ways to upgrade formal presentations, like the one Russ just did, when you have to speak to groups this size with preparation, groups larger than this with preparation, and certainly those myriad one-on-one, one-on-twos that you do in the course of a day that you're prepared for. Sure, I want to upgrade all of those. Equally important, if not more so, are all the other exchanges that you do in the course of a day that you're not prepared for. For instance, everything I've been listening to since I walked into this movie theater today. when you speak to groups this size without preparation, groups larger than this without preparation, and certainly all those times, folks, you're speaking one-on-one, one-on-two without a lot of preparation. My conjecture about this, folks, Russ talks about teams. If you upgrade your communication and leadership skills, so will everyone who works for you, with you, above you. Excellent communication and leadership skills are infectious. Do you folks all know who Arthur Miller is? Great American playwright. He wrote Death of a Salesman. He was married to Marilyn Monroe for a while. He said, we're ranking everybody every minute of every day. And it's true, isn't it? You're ranking me. You're evaluating me. You're judging me. What I'm saying, how I say it, what I look like, my clothing, everything. Well, right back at you. I have been doing it since I walked into this building, and Tuan greeted me as I walked into the theater. Now, I already have about, I would say, a half page of notes about you, and only half of those about Tuan. Now I do it because Russ is paying me to do it, but everybody does it on some level. Guy down at the gas station, the woman at the supermarket, and certainly your colleagues, your employees, your customers, your clients, your family members. My other theory about excellent communication and leadership skills is that they're muscular. Ooh, what the heck does that mean? Well, when I take a month off from the gym because I've hurt my lower back or my travel schedule's so extensive, then I go back to the gym to do my curls, I have to remind myself to keep my elbows in, not to rock my body. Once I'm back in the swing of things, I don't think about that anymore. It just happens automatically. It's muscular. The same with excellent communication and leadership skills. You may have to take notes to remind yourself about these things, but after all, you won't because it's muscular. Because remember what the name of the program is. You on your best day. 2 U words. What I don't want to do today, folks, is come in here and try to change all of you into something that you're not. No interest whatsoever. But rather, what I am interested in doing is seeing what all of you bring to the table in terms of communication and leadership excellence. How do we identify that? How do we find what else is in your bag of tricks that's also excellent that you don't use as often? How do we get that to the forefront? And then how do we downplay the weaknesses? So the takeaway today is by 12:35, whatever time Russ pulls the plug on me, I want each of you to walk out of here with a minimum of 2 ways to upgrade the way you communicate and lead. At least 2 ways to enhance your present communication and leadership package. Now, I'm an actor-director. And so usually when CEOs like Russ introduce me and say, here's this actor-director guy, people kind of roll their eyes and say, oh man, is Russ doing cocaine now? What's wrong with him? Why is he bringing this dude in? So I'm not sure what you buy in about actors and directors. So I want to ask you this. What is a skill or talent that you think a professional actor needs to be at the top of his or her game? Any skill or talent, what do you think? Say that again, Chris? Chris, can you explain what impersonation means? So a professional actor impersonates, do you mean like stepping into the role. All right, now you're cooking, Chris. So Chris, we call that word not impersonation, because those are comics. Comics impersonate. Little kids can impersonate. But that second thing you said, man, Chris, you're starting at the top, brother. That's called immersion. So everybody, to Chris's excellent point, actors don't pretend to be the role. What do? They are the role. They become the role, right? Best example I can give you, folks, is Daniel Day-Lewis. You like him? 3-time Academy Award winner, everybody. You only need 6 fingers to count the number of people who've won more than 2 Academy Awards for acting, and Daniel Day-Lewis is one of them. And he's the only one on God's earth to win all 3 in the category of Best Actor. Most recently for Lincoln. His first one was for My Left Foot. You guys are smart. His second one, harder one. It's a dark movie. Don't take the kids to it. There Will Be Blood. Wicked smart, Russ. You didn't tell me. That's Boston talk. That means wicked smart. Yeah. Now, he's in between times, he's nominated for 3 others. One, a movie called Gangs of New York. Do you see this thing where he plays Bill the Butcher, the tough mob boss? Now, Chris, to your point, the story goes on the set of Gangs of New York, Daniel Day-Lewis never broke character. He was that guy at breakfast, lunch, dinner, drove everyone nuts. On the set of Lincoln, he wrote people handwritten notes signed Abraham Lincoln. Now, Steve Martin, he's an actor at the top of his game in the comic genre. I've worked with him twice. When we're on the set of Pink Panther 2, he's Inspector Clouseau every moment. If you gave him this Sharpie, he would be opening it up, looking for clues, sniffing it, making sure the top really fit. However, when the director says cut, Steve Martin goes in his trailer and closes the door. You don't have lunch with Inspector Clouseau or Steve Martin. Daniel Day-Lewis at the top of his game because he does what you said, Chris. He immerses himself in the role 24/7. Steve Martin at the top of his game in the comic genre because he does what Chris says. He immerses himself in the role, but he needs times out. But Chris is right. That skill is called immersion. What else? What else? Actors at the top of their game. What other skill or talent? Who said that? What's your name, sir? Greg. Right on the money, Greg. You know, do you guys want show business stories today, or is that a big bore to you? Yes or no? All right, blame this guy here who said yes. Like you guys, like look, you're in a coma. Yes, give me another Coke. Yeah. So memory. All right, do you guys know who Pat Morita is? Played Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid. Was on Happy Days. Wax on, wax off. That's Pat Morita. Do you know who Sherman Hemsley is? Played Mr. Jefferson in long-running CBS sitcom The Jeffersons. Well, Weezy. That's Sherman Hemsley. Well, someone had a brainchild. Let's cast these two guys in Neil Simon's The Odd Couple. So, see, it's crazy already. So they cast Pat Morita as Felix, a very neat one. Sherman Hemsley as Oscar the Slobby one. It was going to have its world premiere in a professional theater in Boston where I'd formerly directed. It was going to open on a Friday. On the Wednesday, 2 days before opening, producer called me and said, hey, Michael, can you come to the theater and watch rehearsal? Having trouble with the no word, I said yes. And when I got there, guess what, Greg? Pat Morita did not have this. He did not know his lines 2 days before opening. So they gave him an ear prompter. Do you all know what an ear prompter is? I use ear prompters when I do trade shows. For example, when I have to go to Vegas for Comdex, I have clients like Motorola or EMC, say that might be a better example, where I have to stand at a booth and talk for 10 minutes straight about something like computer storage, something I know nothing about. So what I do, I dictate my 10-minute spiel into a microcassette. I stick the microcassette in my pocket. Then there's a loop that goes to my shirt connecting to an earpiece, much the same way a hearing impaired person would wear. And when the presentation starts, I press the button in my pocket, and then the little Michael Allosso in my ear does my entire presentation, and I just do it one set of beats after myself. And I do 4 shows an hour, 8 hours a day. Client loves me. Why? Because I never make mistakes. Why? Because I'm a robot. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. The hard part is sometimes people think you're smart. At the end of it, they raise their hand, and they say, can you tell me a little bit more about connectivity? And you look out and you go, good morning. Welcome to EMC Computer Storage. Because you have no idea what you're talking about. Well, that's lovely for computer storage, but how does that work for a fast-paced Neil Simon dialogue? It doesn't. They didn't record his lines ahead of time. The stage manager was in the back of the room, and she was whispering his lines into the device. So there was Sherman Hemsley completely on his A game saying, Felix, if I want to be a slob, I'll be a slob, leave me alone. And there was Pat Morita saying, well, you know, Oscar, this thing isn't working. We kept breaking character all night long, talking to the back of the house. This rehearsal must have gone on forever. I got out of there as fast as I could. Next day, now Thursday, 1 day before opening, producer calls me and says, hey, Michael, you're on. And I said, I beg your pardon? He said, Pat Morita has hurt his back, and we'd like you to play Felix. I wasn't even the understudy, mind you. I hadn't read the play since I was in college. But what does that producer know about me that you now know about me? What word do I struggle with? The no word. I said yes, dropped everything. They pushed and pulled me through space deep into the evening. Got there again bright and early Friday morning, opening night now. I worked right up until the moment doors opened, full house poured in, press in the audience. I had script pasted on walls, on vacuum cleaners, in bowls of spaghetti, any place I could put this thing. 2 shows Saturday, I kept cramming more and more lines. 2 shows Sunday, more and more lines. Monday, thankfully, was the day off. I learned the script. I cemented the script on Tuesday because I didn't have to be at the theater till 6:30 for an 8 o'clock go. We reopened Tuesday night. I was successful because I had memory. Pat Morita was not because he did not. And to be fair to poor Mr. Morita, because he's passed away, all of his experience had been in film and TV. Now, it's not that you don't need memory in film and TV. You do. But in film and TV, you memorize in little teeny increments. In theater, you're playing without a net. So he was a casting error. He's the wrong person on the bus. And Greg's right. It's not just memory for lines. It's memory for names, memory for sequences. Memory in general is an actor's friend. What else? Who said that? Who said it? And what's your name, sir? Adam. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you're right on the money, Adam. You know, Adam, one of the things I do back in Boston is I have an improvisational company. Like your city is the epicenter of improvisation, Chicago with Second City. My company is called On the Spot Review. And so what does an improv company do? I could stand here and I could say, what's something you like to do in your spare time? And whatever answer I hear loudest, clearest first, I could now sing a song with lyrics that rhyme about it or do a scene about it. It's just a muscle. If Russ gave me you guys for a week, by the end of the week, I'd have you doing it. Well, back in the day, I was gigging with this all the time. I'd have gigs at private parties, nightclubs, theaters. So I needed a whole stable full of actors. So occasionally I'd invite an actor to study with me in a training seminar, and the actor would say to me, I would rather roll through broken glass naked than do that program. What was that actor afraid of? What you said, Adam, improvisation. Now, Greg, that's often the same actor that shows up at the first rehearsal with all his lines learned, knows what he's going to wear, what night his family's coming, and what row they're sitting in. Makes about $1.65 a week in the small professional theater. But they'll never go to the top because they're missing the Adam piece. Yeah, all the people at the top of their game have huge improv skills. You know, I'm in Pink Panther 2, the Steve Martin movie, as I alluded to earlier. I play the maitre d' of the restaurant that Inspector Clouseau burns down twice. I play this snotty, tight-butted defeat guy. It was a huge stretch for me. They send you the script ahead of time. Can you guess what percentage of the script that they send you ahead of time was actually in the movie? 25, way off. 10, closer, still off. 0. 0. Steve Martin not only changed what I had to say and do every day, he changed what I had to say and do every take. We'd do a take, and then he'd say to me, okay, Michael, this time, how about if you stand here, I stand, we do this. Okay, let's try it. Now, if I had said to him, but Mr. Martin had said in my script that I learned at home, you know where I'd be? At home. They'd find some other loser to play the role. Yeah, Adam's right. All the people at the top of their game have a keen sense of improvisational skills. What else? Say that again? Yeah, Jana, we call that just plain old confidence. Jana's right. You know, now here's the thing about that, Jana. If I brought an actor with me from New York today, and by the way, everybody, the only difference between an actor from New York and one from LA is the actor from LA has a car. That's the only difference. Here's what the actor would say to you, Jana. He'd say, oh, Jana, I'm afraid that's not true. I'm afraid we're constantly questioning ourselves. We're really never very sure. Yeah, all that's true, but let's face it, folks, Jana's right. To stand in front of a group of people and do what an actor does obviously takes a huge amount of confidence. In fact, one way I'd love to run this program today is to hire 10 professional actors from the Chicago area to drive down here and audition for us for a hypothetical role we make up. And by 12:35, we have to cast the best person for the role. I could cover all the same topics I'm going to cover today much more creatively. Russ would never go for it. It costs way too much money. What I guarantee you would gravitate toward are the actors who walk into this theater with what you said, Jana, confidence. I don't care what they're like in their personal life. When it comes time to do the task, they would have to be confident or they'd never go to the top. You know, Jana, Steve Martin's a good case in point. If he were sitting in your row next to Kevin right now, and you guys all kind of looked around, there was a camera that could look down at the room, Steve Martin would look like the least confident person in this room. He's very shy. He's very introverted. However, when the director says action, oh, baby, Jana, he's a poster boy for what you said. So again, I don't care what their personal stick is, Jana's right. They would have to be confident or they'd never go to the top. One more, so we have a top 5 list. What else? Who said that? What's your name? Holly, right on the money, Holly. Holly, you were one of the superstars in the thing, weren't you? Yeah. Holly, oh, the holly and the ivy. Oh, sorry, Holly. Yeah, so passion. You know, Holly, when early in my career I had the opportunity to interview Ingrid Bergman. Oh, millennials, you have no idea who Ingrid Bergman is, right? Yeah, I was doing a key executive group in New Mexico, and I started telling my Ingrid Bergman story. And there was a guy, you know, sitting right in the front row, kind of with this vapid look on his face. And I turned to him and I said, you know who Ingrid Bergman is, right? And he said, oh, yeah, I've heard of him. And I suddenly felt like I was 185 years old. There was a century long ago, millennials, called the 20th century. And there was this actress named Ingrid Bergman. And she won 3 Academy Awards. She's one of the 6 fingers. And I had the opportunity to interview her. I don't think I'm so old. I was fresh out of Brandeis, and I was developing career education manuals for the U.S. Office of Education. And the question I got to ask Ms. Bergman was, what one bit of advice would you give to someone who's just starting out as an actor? And she said, unless you can taste it when you wake up in the morning and nothing else will make you happy, don't do it. What was she talking about? What you said, Holly. Passion. Go flip burgers. Don't be an actor. Excellent top 5 list. A little offended no one said intelligence. But clearly there are New York Yankee fans here in Frankfort, Illinois. Yeah. Did I mention the Boston Red Sox won 4 World Series in 21st century yet? Have I mentioned New England Patriots have been in 9 of the 18 last Super Bowls, winning 6 of them? And the only... Oh, I'm glad Russ said wrap it up because I'm going to talk more now. Because the only 3 they lost, Russ, was A, because God is a New York Giants fan, and B, because God and Satan teamed together to put a hex on the Patriots defense in 2018 against the Eagles. Let's be factual about these things. All right, I have the black pen in my hand. What if I ask the question this way? What skills or talents do you all need to be outstanding, not good, but outstanding in what you do every day as a leader in Robinson Engineering? Now remember, you're all leaders. Russ made this very clear in his excellent keynote. You know, Robinson Engineering isn't Russ. It's not Russ and Chris. You're Robinson Engineering. If I meet you on the street, what do I know about Russ and Chris? If I'm working with you on a thing, I don't know anything. You're Robinson Engineering. You're the leaders. Everyone in this room is a leader. I'll tell you straight up, CEOs don't spend the kind of money on these kinds of programs, taking people out of the workforce, spending money for this place, spending my salary. It says a huge comment about who you are. This is a deep honoring thing to you that you are the leaders of the company. So let me ask my question again. If I were making a list of skills and talents you need to be outstanding, not good, in what you do every day in your job as a leader at Robinson Engineering, which one or ones of these 5 should I cross out with a black pen? Immersion in the role, memory, improvisational skills, confidence, and passion. What do you want to lose? So everything goes exactly as you planned every day, Dave. So Dave, you're on an assembly line and things go exactly. So I'll put except Dave. He doesn't need improv skills. Except Dave. Good. Dave, I'm glad. Can I have your life? You know, I love your life. What do you want to lose, everybody? Immersion. So you can, Sean, what's your job title? So a senior project manager engineer. So you only have to be that on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, right? You only have to be that when you don't have a headache, right? You only have to be that when your client is treating you with great respect and dignity, right? So I'm going to say you, Sean, you can occasionally be excellent. So except Sean, because he's going to occasionally be excellent. You get my point what immersion is? See, Sean, are you a dad? Are you a life partner? All right, so immersion means that you're the most excellent Sean you can be to your life partner all the time. Not when you have a good day at Robinson, so when you have a bad day at Robinson, sorry, I'm not immersed in the role. What immersion means is you are that project manager, you are that engineer excellently all the time. You are that life partner all the time. Not when things are going well. Not when things are easy. All the time. That's what immersion means. So what do you want to lose, folks? Absolutely. I have to put the top right back on the black pen. So I just did, folks, it's a very long journey to explain why Russ is not nuts to drag this Boston actor guy halfway across the country to work with you today. It's the exact same skill set. Notice none of you said tap skills. Screaming at the top of your lungs, making funny faces in the camera. That's not what great actors do. They do these things. As long as you understand that, you are actors. You are acting from the minute you pull your car in the parking lot in the morning. I was thinking that this morning because I took an Uber. And I don't know, I get car sick in Ubers. I don't know what's wrong with me. And like this driver was only a short distance, and I was kind of, ugh. And I got out of the thing, I had my suitcase, I walk into the movie theater, there's 100 people running around with popcorn. Then all of a sudden, Russ appears around the corner. So what did I do? I kicked into gear. I began my day. That's what I'm asking you to do every single day, kick into gear. Have you ever seen the movie All That Jazz with Roy Scheider? Have you guys seen this? This is a good run if you haven't seen this. Roy Scheider passed away a number of years ago. He was nominated for an Oscar for a movie called All That Jazz. He plays Bob Fosse, the great theatrical director, choreographer. Now, Fosse was a genius, but he had a little trouble in his personal life. He was a womanizer, alcoholic, chemical abuser. So when his alarm clock went off in the morning, it was tough for him to get going. So he'd drag his sorry butt out of the bedroom, into the bathroom, look himself in the mirror, and do you know what he said to himself every day to get himself going? It's showtime. It's showtime. And the same with all of you. It's showtime. That's why I'm going to treat today our little brief time together as an acting seminar. And some of you are going to wish that you were at the Hilton Garden Inn in Tinley Park, because I'm going to continue to be pushing you outside your comfort zone to make you think of things. So let's embellish this list. I want to start with what Holly said. I love what you said, Holly. Passion thing. I have this thing that I call my 35 secret weapons to help you be you in your best day. And Holly, number one on my list is energy, which is related to passion. And I think it's so important. I write it 3 times. I write it first, and I put an exclamation point after it. There's a survey taken of leaders in our country asking you all what it is that you look for in the people that you surround yourself with. As a multiple choice, you could say education, experience, honesty. Number one by a landslide was energy and enthusiasm. We want to be surrounded by a life force. You saw Russ's energy and enthusiasm. The people he chose to honor were people who demonstrated energy and enthusiasm. That's what we want to be surrounded with. Well, you know where I'm going with this. If that's what you're looking for, people, well, pick the cliche. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. And the minute you go to this place, where I have seen one of you go already this morning, this place right here, someone sees you. As long as it's all right for the people around you to go to that place, you keep right on going to that place. But if you're demanding more from your peeps, you got to put out more. Now, am I asking you to be energetic every moment of every workday at Robinson Engineering? Well, are you folks aware that when you walk in the building, all eyes go to you? Are you aware that people talk about what mood you're in a given day? They talk about what you're wearing. They talk about who you said hello to, who you didn't say hello to, who you said hello to by name, who you didn't say hello to by name. You're rock stars. Can't take that lightly. Look what Chris started the day with, immersion. Now, yes, we all have down times, but if you have a downtime, you got to do what Steve Martin does on the set of Pink Panther 2. You got to go in your trailer and close the door. You're dealing with me, your client, your customer, your life partner, your employee, your child. May not sound very empathetic, but nobody really cares about what you did 10 hours ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 seconds ago. You don't really care about my bad workout this morning. You don't really care about my vocal allergies. It's not that you're not nice, compassionate people. You are, but if I use those as reasons for obfuscating my excellence today, stay home. Hey, Ben, let's find a microphone and let's send it all around the whole theater, and let's all talk about what our physical problems are today, our emotional problems, our spiritual problems. We all got them. They're all real. But unless you're willing to exonerate the person who made the popcorn and the soda this morning, maybe they bumped their knee. Maybe their boyfriend dumped them this morning. So they accidentally slipped arsenic into the Coke that you just chugged. Well, it can't be excellent all the day. Well, same with you. You know, I have this client in Southern California called Metagenics. Any of you work with them? They manufacture vitamins and food supplements. And part of my coaching base there are physicians who speak to other doctors all over the world about the Metagenics program. One of those doctors told me this recently about energy. He said, you know, Michael, it takes more energy to hold your body with less energy than with more energy. Did you follow that double talk? In other words, if I did this, if I said, okay, everybody, oh, sorry, Russ, I didn't go to bed on time last night. I'm going to give you some of my 35 secret weapons. Hey, Hall, how you doing? To help you be you on your best day, Miss Sutton, how goes it? Questions? Good, don't ask. According to the doctor, that horror show that I just did actually utilizes more energy than if I said, okay, everybody, today I'm going to give you some of my 35 secret weapons to help you be you on your best day. So not only is it your ethical responsibility, not only is it inspirational, but you're actually lubing the muscles so you have more energy at the end of the day to make your music, ride those boats, go home to your life partner. So that's a big problem I see. A lot of my client base, they expel a lot of energy all day long, and they go home and they give their families nothing. And I used to think this was because of the gross expulsion of energy. The doctor convinced me otherwise. He says it's because we're erratic and sporadic with our energy. In other words, I say, ooh, Jim's an important client. I'm going to put out for him. Oh, Evan knows me. I don't have to put out for him. Ooh, Holly's an important client. I'm going to put out for her. Oh, Russ knows me. No, what the doctor said is all of God's children should be equally important. But doesn't that most especially include whoever's waiting at home? Don't they deserve the lion's share? Isn't Act 2 more important than Act 1 in any play you ever saw? You continue to put out when you get home, you hit the pillow, you pass out. Those of you who work out regularly, answer me this. Are you more energetic at the beginning of the workout or the end of the workout? And it's physics. It's the same principle. Energy begets energy. Lethargy begets more lethargy. You know, One of the ways I met Russ, the way I met Russ was through Glenn Horton from the Horton Group over in Orland. And I met Glenn at one of these CEO groups that I do, the Vistage. It's called Vistage, which is a CEO enrichment group. And what these groups do is they meet monthly, and I'm on the speaker circuit for that. And one of the ways they start their meetings is they go around the room and they all tell what's called significant events. They tell a personal thing and a business thing. And so this was end of last spring, maybe about 11 months ago. I was invited to Los Angeles to do one of these Vistage groups. The chair wanted me to see this check-in so I could make it better, give people notes. So they sit in a kind of a big horseshoe. It's going around. And it got to the person right about in here. And the guy turned to me and he said, Michael, before I begin, full disclosure, 6 weeks ago, my 13-year-old son committed suicide. Got a major lump in my throat. I started to well up. He started sobbing profusely. He recovered, broke down again, recovered again, and actually finished with a lot of panache. And I'll tell you straight up, everybody, this guy was the single most energetic person in that room for the whole day. Chris, where you started the day, the most immersed into the thing. He's hired me to work with his company in LA. I've been there twice since I met him. Both times, the most energetic person in the company. First time he brought his 17-year-old son. Imagine that, losing your kid brother that way. And the son was just like the dad. And I remember the day I went to that meeting in LA, it was one of those weeks, we've all had them, where I had more than 4 nights in a row of less than 4 or 5 hours sleep. I was dragging, saying, oh, poor me. Really? The day you think your problem is the biggest in the room, think again. Probably someone came here today under great duress. They had a child that was sick, and they had to deal with their life partner and figure out childcare. They probably had to drive this to do this, dog care. There's a million things that someone in this room probably got a call this week. They have a spot on their prostate, for all you know. Always assume that someone has a bigger problem than yours, and it's usually true. As a leader, you shut up and show up. Which is number 2 on my secret weapons leads from it, which is called focus and concentration. I was surprised you didn't put that in the top 5. If Russ had hired me to do a week-long acting seminar with you guys, and by the way, you'd all benefit from that, I would spend the first half day alone on focus and concentration. It's that important. It's what we call in theater being in the moment. Athletes, what do we call it in sports? Being in the what? In the zone, right, Ben? Remember the Olympic athletes when they were interviewed? How'd you win the gold medal? That was really in the zone. All that means is focus and concentration. It means if Ben and I are doing a scene in a comic play, and we're playing the scene, and the audience laughs, we don't look out and say, oh, that was funny. Ooh, and get back into it. We stay in the moment. Teresa and I are doing a love scene in a movie. It's probably a boom mic over our head, a camera person on our face, script supervisor right next to us. Teresa and I have to stay in the moment in order to make the scene. Say it again, Jason. Jason, I love you. You're not just a camera dude. You're a genius. Hear what Jason said, everybody? Jason said the B word, believability. This trumps everything else on your, oh, you can't use that as a verb anymore. This overshadows everything else on your list. Believability. Bottom line is you have to believe the performance. If you didn't believe the performance, you wouldn't even sit in your seat. If I gave you a bibliography right now of all the great acting books ever written, they all have the same title. Acting is believing. The honest actor. Real actor. Look up acting in the dictionary, folks. It says nothing about pretense. Well, some Webster's has as the 5th or 6th preferred definition. Latin scholars in the room, what does acting mean? It's from the same root as action. It means to do, to perform, not to pretend. Do you know what we call actors who pretend? Unemployed. We don't hire them. So Jason, we'll come back to this anytime I'm ever with you from now to the end of earth. This will always be the bottom line. Now, focus and concentration-wise, you as a team, because I listened to all the things Russ said about you and all the positive things he had to say about you, so I'm dying to see you exhibit this behavior. And I think focus and concentration is one of your high skills. Because what I've been watching is, since I started to speak, 6 different people left to go to the bathroom. And I watched, and every time that person climbed through to go out, the rest of you, with maybe 1 or 2 little exceptions, stayed connected right to the front of the room. That's exceptional focus and concentration. For the average person, someone goes by you, You're going to look at them. That's what the average person's going to do. Now, I won't say you're perfect, but you're quite good. Look, someone's testing me. Someone's testing you. Oops, Amy, Katie, you failed. You looked right that way. You see why? Someone up here with less confidence than me, i.e. anybody, you do that, they could lose their mojo. And that's what focus and concentration is. Now, I won't say you're perfect. You need to work on some things. Some of you talk when I speak, Holly and person next to you. You do that quite frequently, what you're doing right now. You got to be careful of that. Someone in the front of the room, you chat, you could be chatting enthusiastically about what they're saying. They're going to see that as a lack of focus. Some of you look down at your stuff. You don't keep eye contact. Someone could perceive that as a lack of focus. Be careful of the phone thing. 3 of you have taken out your phones while we've started today. If when Russ introduced me today, I put my phone there like that, what message do I send you by putting my phone there? Say again? Right. Okay, so you're important, but only as important as that is. I got other clients that I work for regularly, and I need to be available for them. And besides, Peggy took Bridie to the groomer today, and she's sending me a picture of the new grooming. I have to approve it. Wheatons are very difficult to groom. No, no, no. What I tell my insurance clients, my construction teams, my financial planning teams, people who go into other people's buildings and present, leave this in the car. If you need Google capability, be in the building. Folks, every psychologist from here to Timbuktu will tell you, if that's on the table where you're having a conference with your child, your client, your customer, your life partner, your employee, you're going to feel devalued. And today isn't just about your excellence. Russ talked about this whole crop of young engineers that we're bringing forward. So today isn't just about your excellence. It's about your responsibility to make other people excellent. And if the focus and concentration I've seen in this room today, which has for the most part been excellent, is endemic of how you generally behave, bravo. Now, people aren't going to walk around Robinson saying, man, what great focus he has. Man, is her concentration good. What they will say is, man, oh man, does he respect you. Man, oh man, does he offer you dignity. When they feel that way, they produce more. Russ made a big deal about the respect word. Number one reason why people leave jobs in America is what? A recent article refuted this a little, but it's generally believed what? What do you think? Yes, sir. And that speaks to your intelligence. What's your name, sir? Terry. Speaks to your intelligence, Terry, because most people think it's money, geography, job description. It isn't. Terry's right. When we go back to your word, Jason, when believable, authentic exit interviews happen, what most people will say is they did not feel valued by their immediate boss. And for millennials, put an exponent next to that. Someone my age, you don't value me? Well, where else am I going to go? I'm close to death. I might stay, you know. A hot millennial? They can go anywhere they want. You know, Russ, I'm going to share an addiction that I have since we're being all friends, and Russ said that's what your environment is friendly. I'm going to tell you about an addiction I have that only happens when I'm in the Midwest. I'm addicted to Culvers. This is very serious. Yeah, you can laugh because you have no body fat, but, you know, like butter burger? I mean, butter and burger in one moment, tell me that isn't heaven. And what people don't know is these Hertz rental cars that I usually drive around the Midwest, Hertz puts a programming device that makes the car automatically turn into a Culver's parking lot if you pass one. So I had a gig in Madison, Wisconsin. I got to the airport, I got my Hertz rental car, and I was on my way to the client. And I don't know if you've been to the Madison airport. As you leave the Madison airport, immediately on the left, there's a Culver's. So involuntarily, my car turned into the Culver's, and before I knew it, I had a frozen custard and a Butterburger in one hand, frozen custard in the other. And I went to sit and enjoy my feast. Right after I sat down, a mom and her little girl came in. And I would say the little girl was, you know, around second grade, 8 or 9 years old, second or third grade, that delicious age. And the little girl was all in her soccer gear, and they were celebrating something or another. The mom bought her a frozen custard, and they sat at the table near me. The mom's back was to me, but the little girl was facing me. And you want to talk about passion? Holly, this little girl, first of all, she could not put her little butt in the seat. You know, her hands were on the table, her little butt was waving, her head was bobbing. She never stopped smiling. Her ebullience was infectious. And the mom was sitting there like this. And I said, oh, I know what that mom has in her lap. So I decided my Butterburger needed a little more ketchup, so I could go to the ketchup kiosk and look over her shoulder. So I did, and sure enough, she had an iPhone in her lap. So I started pumping the ketchup, saying, okay, don't make value judgments. Maybe there's a family emergency. Maybe there's a flood in Joliet. And I finally took my heavily ketchup Butterburger, and I went back and looked over her shoulder. You know what this woman was looking at? Well, all I saw, you guys, was a vertical stream of clothing. And she wasn't even shopping. She had this kind of diffident look on her face. And the little girl, I'm not exaggerating this part of the story at all, this little girl whose effervescence was palpable, she went from here to here to here to looking at the wall to running her fingers down the wall and eventually misbehaving and altering the picture on the wall. I thought to myself, how many wonderful moments is this mom going to have with this kid that she's willing to sacrifice a single one? Be careful the message you send with this thing. See, I can say to Russ, oh, Russ, I have so much respect for you and your hold on a second, I just have to check this. Really? I'm going to say that, and to go back to your word, Jason, who the heck's going to believe me? You know, I often eat out by myself when I'm on the road. Sometimes I don't have time to connect with my client, or I get there late. And when I eat out by myself in a nice restaurant, I don't know about you, I like to observe behavior. And invariably, there'll be a couple out for the evening, attractive-looking couple, nicely dressed, and both members of the couple will spend practically the entire evening on their phones. Now, I like to be creative and think, well, maybe they're sexting each other under the table. Isn't that what you millennials do? Nope, they're just on their phone. Be careful of the message you send with this. You know, one of my secret weapons is called eye contact, and eye contact's a whole thing about how all the things we do that makes people respond to us. And that's one thing. Another thing that you guys have been excellent at is this eye contact, because last row, I can see all the way back there. You may think this is a big theater, but I can see you. I can see when you go into your lap. I can see if you're looking at me. This is a great room, and with the house lights up like this, it's like we're in a living room. And it's another category you've been excellent at today. Been excellent eye contact this way. And special kudos, Russ, Ben, Evan, Jason, because I've been like right on top of you guys, and you're staying right with me. Same with this row, the 5 beautiful women in this row, you know. Are you guys like Destiny's Child +1 or something? Yeah, it's like, so like you guys, I've come right here. Look, like not a single one of you look away. And the average citizen, again, when you get close with this, they look away. You're very excellent at giving eye contact. What I want to make sure is you're that good when it's your turn. So when it's your turn, I want to make sure that you are looking at everybody in the room. Now, you know, if there's about 100 people maybe. How many people are in the room, Russ? 140. So I have 140 people in this room, and Russ gave me an hour. 1 hour, answer me yes or no. 140, because Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian playwright novelist, says the eyes are the gateway to the soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul. So when you look someone in the eye, you make a very specific human connection. You never want to shortchange that. So if I have 140 people, 1 hour, should I try to eye contact everybody in the room? Yes or no? Did you give them answer booklet ahead of time, Russ? You guys are wicked smart, because you know what? When I speak to CEOs, they often answer that question, because I agree with you, the answer is yes. One CEO said this to me recently, a guy from St. Louis. He said, no. You don't try to eye contact all the people in the room. You focus on the horizon. Yeah, if you're trying to motivate the horizon, I don't understand that one. No wonder why St. Louis has the highest crime rate in the U.S. They're all focusing on the horizon. And they lost the World Series twice in the 21st century to the Boston Red Sox. See how educative this is, Russ? Right. The other thing a lot of people do is the eye contact scanner sweep. You know that one? I have a house on the coast of Maine. So what does that mean? I go up there a lot on weekends. I'll get up there, you know, in the wee hours of the morning tomorrow. So what does that mean? I go to church there a lot. So the first time I went to church there, I sat in the pew. Pastor was homilizing. I said, look at him go. He's getting everyone in this room. He didn't happen to get me, though. I said, well, it must be where I'm sitting. So second Sunday, I changed my seat, and I moved over here. And he did it again, saying, look at him go. He's getting everyone in the room. He didn't happen to get me, though. I said, well, it must be where I'm sitting. So third Sunday, I sat here. He did it again, still didn't get me. Fourth Sunday, I sat a little closer, gave him a crabby look. He still didn't get me. Fifth Sunday, I sat in the front row, smiled and waved. He still didn't look at me. Why? He does this thing called the eye contact scanner sweep, which puzzles me because I see priests, ministers, rabbis, professional speakers doing this all the time. But it's like putting whitewash on the fence. Yeah, you cover the whole fence with no special detail, and subsequently no one feels particularly valued. Now, what's interesting, when I say you're smart, is a lot of Russ's buddies, CEO buddies, will say, no. You don't try to eye contact everybody in the room. It must be in some book somewhere. You break the room into sections. You know that one? Call it the furniture store method. So the theory behind this one, let me see if I can give you an example. The theory behind this one is that if I look at Amy, then Katie and Susan both feel valued because they're in the same general area as Amy. And Katie and Susan, what a pleasure to speak for both of you today. You're both such friendly, nice people. See what's happening here? Not only do Katie and Susan not feel at all valued by what I'm doing, Amy's starting to hate me a little bit. Yeah, so that's better than this thing. But now we do what you said. You really try to look at everybody. Okay, 140, 1 hour, maybe I won't get everybody. But if I try, I'll easily get 80 or 90%. So what do you like better? 85%, 20%, 0%, your job. I don't care if it's 2 people in your office or you were to speak in a place like this. Your job is to make every single human being walk out of there saying, I thought he was talking to me. I thought she was talking to me. I'm here to tell you I'm not in favor of tricks or throwing in the towel ahead of time. I'm only in favor of what Jason gave us a long time ago, really doing that. You know, one of the beauties of this job, everybody, is I've now spoken in 47 of the 50 states. And let me tell you, America's beautiful. Each state's more beautiful than the one before it. First time I spoke in South Carolina, I was kind of afraid to go. Well, I'm from Boston, Chris. I thought they were all going to have shotguns and be trying to kill me. They did all have shotguns, but no one was trying to kill me. They were very, very nice. And one guy totally grooved on eye contact, and he raised his hand and he said, ooh, wait, I know exactly what you're talking about. Me and 10 of my friends went to Martina McBride concert together. We couldn't sit together. We were scattered all over the auditorium. But we all went out for coffee afterwards. We all said the same thing. Martina was singing to me. All 10 of these guys felt like Martina McBride was singing to them. I told that story when I was in New Mexico. This big, tall cowboy dude raised his hand and said, wait a minute. I went to a Martina McBride concert. She was singing to me. And have you ever been to a Martina McBride concert? Evidently, Ms. McBride is a consummate performer. She genuinely looks at everybody in the audience, and subsequently people walk out of there feeling like they had their own little private concert. Now, do you spend more time on the happy, smiley people in the audience, or do you spend more time on the stoic people in the audience? Where do you spend more of your time? Stoic, why, Jim? Did you say that, Jim? Who said that? Craig, you did? Why, Jim? Jim says he spends more time on the Stoics as he's laying out here getting a pedicure. It's like, yeah, I spend more time. You look like a king, Jim. Hi, King Jim. Please wash my feet. Yeah, it's like Jim says he spends more time on the Stoics because he's trying to convert them. And Jim, I'd say 25% of my client base agrees with you. They spend more time on the Stoics because they're trying to bring them around. And if you spend more time on the happy smileys? Yes, why? Yes. Yeah, so Katie says she spends more time on the happy smileys, and she says it energizes her. And Katie, I'd say 3/4 of my client base agrees with you. They spend more time on the happy smileys because it's affirming. If today, during my opening monologue, I only looked at the happy, smiley people in the audience, in other words, those of you who every time I laid eyes on you, there was either a nod, a smile, or an affirmation, I would have looked at 2 people and 2 people only. I would have looked at you, Amy, and you, John. Because Amy and John, you are the 2 best people in the whole audience. Like, look at the 2 of you. You're both gorgeous. You like smile. Every time I looked at you, there was either a nod, a smile, or an affirmation. I never in a million years would have spent time on Mo, Larry, Curly, and Shemp down here. Like, because you, you take pride in that, Robert. That's so good. Because you guys, you've been looking at me like you want to have me executed. Now, here's the thing I learned a long time ago, apropos to what you guys said, what you said, Jim, what you said, Katie. What I learned a long time ago is a lot of times the people who are doing all that nodding and smiling, a lot of times they're thinking about where they're going to dinner tonight. And a lot of times the Stoics, they're with you every second of the way. And what I see some people do inappropriately for my taste, they do something like this. What's the matter, Robert? You're not with me today? How can I make this more interesting for you? Now, if I were Robert and the speaker said that to me, I would check out, either literally or spiritually. What right do I have to make a value judgment about Robert based upon his externals? But guess what? You just heard 2 of your colleagues say they do, and they're in the majority. And one thing you 2 happy smileys should know, there was a study in the Harvard Business Review that actually measured and quantified this. You know how Harvard is, everybody? They measure and quantify everything. And what the study concluded was that leaders who have this kind of eye contact, and here's how they define leaders: business leaders like you with your employees, parents with their children, teachers with their students, the employees, the children, the students, actually perform greater than whatever they had originally prepared as a result of the leader's eye contact. Whereas if I sat there like this, and even if at the end of it I said, "That's the best presentation I ever heard," I actually run the risk of decreasing the efficacy of the performer. So you see, it's a double-edged sword. Primarily, I'm talking about eye contact when it's your turn. When you're big shots like you, it's eye contact all the time. If you asked me to speak to your team and you were present in the room, I would not be surprised if your people looked at you looking at me almost as much as they looked at me. They'd want to know how you react to the wicky-wacky guy from Boston. The term poker face, great for playing cards, not always great for leadership. In other words, if I come into your office and tell you I've just turned over a $750,000 deal, a $2 million deal, and you have the same face and body for that as you did the day before when I told you my son was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy, I'm not sure the poker face is working. By the way, team, if I'm making this sound like I think it's easy, I apologize. I don't think any of this is easy. I don't think it's easy to have the spotlight thrust on you 24/7. Every move you make, measured, quantified, calculated. Tough. That's what you chose to do. You chose to be big shot of a really important company. Now suck it up. There's a word for it because I'm going to be hanging with you at lunch, and I'll help you to understand this better at lunch if we hang it all. The word for it that I want you to commit to memory so we have a way of talking about it, it's called micro-messaging, micro-messaging. And what micro-messaging simply means are the things we do that elicits a response from another human being. In other words, the micro-messages I picked up right away was from Tuan when I came in. Smiling, warm greeting, that's a micro-message. Wearing cool pink sandals, that is a micro-message. Laughing is a micro-message. Do you drive a Harley into the Robinson parking lot every morning? Micro-message. Do you drive a Porsche convertible with a top down, music blaring? Micro-message. Do you wear badass cowboy boots every day to work? Micro-message. Do you walk in the morning, go directly to your office, do not pass go, do not say hello, do not collect $200? Micro-message. Do you walk in the morning, say hello to people, call them by name, ask them how their night was? Micro-message. Do you seek out someone you didn't know in the audience today? 3 of you came and introduced yourself to me. I never met you before because you didn't know who I was. That's friendly. When Russ says friendly, that's a micro-message. Walking right by and not saying hello, that's a micro-message. Everything's a micro-message. I'm not here to tell you what micro-messages to send. I'm here to tell you you're sending them. And if you tell me your favorite person in your life is your life partner, and when you go home tonight, you're on your iPhone making a business call, and you flop on the couch and open snail mail, and 25 minutes later say hello to them, well, then you either have to redefine who your authentic self is, or you have to choose micro-messages that carefully illustrate that. See, the mistake we make, Jason's word requires intentionality. In order to be believable, you have to choose behavior that makes you believable. So all the concepts Russ talked about, being a team, you can't say we're a good team. You have to live it. And your micro-messages have to connote that you're a good team. Number 35, my last secret weapon of my 35 secret weapons, states this. People should be better off as a result of having spent time with you. Folks, here's what I want to challenge you. You know, Russ talks about a call to action. What if every single interaction you had at Robinson Engineering, now I'm talking every single one, you were firing somebody. You were telling Russ the speaker he brought was a waste of your time. You were punishing your child. You were dealing with an unethical retail situation. What if you said, in addition to whatever your objective was, I want this human being to be better as a result of having spent time with me today? Can you think of how much better all those interactions would be? And I started with show business, everybody. I want to end with show business. Do you guys know who Irving Berlin is? Great American composer. He wrote White Christmas, God Bless America. That's why I did Red, White, and Blue. So what Irving Berlin said. The toughest thing about success is that you got to keep being a success. talent is only a starting point in this business. You got to keep on working that talent. Someday I'll reach for it, and it won't be there. Now, I don't say that as a downer, everybody. I say that as a warning against complacency. What's one of the biggest deterrents to success? What prevents success, do you think? Say it again. What is your name, sir? Rodney. Extremely intelligent answer, Rodney. Rodney, when I ask that question to most companies, some knee-jerk response I usually get is failure. Not for me. If I failed today, the next keynote I'm doing, where is it? Next week in Columbus, Ohio, those losing hockey people won't know what hit them. Because, did I mention the Bruins are in the Stanley Cup Finals yet? Okay. Yeah, they won't know what hit them because I will work all weekend to get better. Now, Rodney's right. It's success. I can give you 10 Vince Lombardi quotes, the second greatest coach ever in the NFL, about how, thank you for paying attention, everybody, how Russ is paying a lot of attention, that success, failure only makes us great. And Russ was pretty clear, but Russ doesn't demand perfection. You know, you fail, it teaches you something. You get better. No, it's success. When Russ talks about how successful you all have been, that's what gets me nervous. All those plexiglass trophies I have on my mantle telling me what a great speaker I am, kiss of death. Rodney's right. You know that cliche, if it ain't broken, don't fix it? That's a bad cliche. That's how the competition goes right by you. Someone told me recently the cliche should be, Rodney, if it ain't broken, break it and be the first one to fix it. When I pray at night, after I pray for world peace and all the things I'm supposed to pray for, you know what my big personal prayer is? I say, please, God, do not let me croak until I use all the gifts you've given me. I think I'm immensely gifted in a lot of different ways. What my frustration is that I might leave this earth before I use all those gifts, and I don't want to. What I tried to point out to you today, folks, is what your gifts are, what you're excellent at. What I'd like you to think about is what gifts are lying under your Christmas tree that you haven't opened lately, or maybe that you've never opened. As a partner in a relationship, parent of a child, leader in a company where your leader cares so deeply about you that he gives you a program like this, it's not only nice to open those gifts, it's your ethical responsibility. I want to thank you for your attention today. You know, Russ told me I would like you guys, but this is a hard environment to pay attention. I mean, when I'm in these seats, I told Russ, I have to highly caffeinate when I see a movie when I'm in these seats because I doze off. It's like sleepy time, and especially with you guys all like leading out and getting your pedicures. Yeah, no, you've been a remarkably attentive and focused audience. That might be my single favorite thing, first impression-wise, Russ, about your team. Highly focused. And as engineers, as parents, as leaders in a company, you need that. I wish you every blessing as you finish 2019, both personally and professionally, and I sincerely do hope our paths cross again in the future. Thank you all, everybody.